A brand new video. Today we're doing 2 NBA player props here on PrizePicks for Monday, February 3rd. A lot of crazy stuff going on in the NBA trade deadline coming up this Thursday. Obviously, if you're watching this video and you're even remotely into the NBA, you know about the Luka trade, etc., etc. So there is going to be some volatility, I think, with lineups from now till the trade deadline, and obviously out to the trade deadline as players move around, right? Players are going to be players that normally don't play a lot might play a little bit more, etc., etc. But nonetheless, 2 player props here. PrizePicks February 3rd, Monday. We cashed on our last YouTube play. Lonzo Ball and PJ Washington both cashed for us here. And again, we've hit 2 straight videos now. So 4-0 run currently. Last 2 videos on NBA cashed on both the plays. So again, please drop a like on this video, guys, and hit that subscribe button. Dropping content like this all the time. Also, take a look in the description below of the video. Hop into the Discord. $9.30 per month. Currently doing a promo right now for first-time members of the Discord. 20% off your first month using promo code TUFF with the link in the description below. So I post all the plays I'm making on PrizePicks. We have other cappers in there as well. Overall, it's a super positive community. Everyone in there just trying to help each other cash. But let's get into it, you guys. 2 player props, both fantasy score lines, Monday, February 3rd. Let's get into it. So the first play I'm looking at is going to be Zaccharie Risacher, over 20 fantasy score. I think this line is a little bit too low. If you look at Zaccharie Risacher, over his last 3 games that he has played, coming off a game, 26 fantasy against Indiana, 29 minutes, 17, 5, and 2. Before that, put up 30 points against Cleveland, 31, 1, and 2 steals. Again, 0 turnovers. The turnovers are pretty low for him as well, and he does have that steal upside, at least getting us maybe 1, which is why I like this play here. No turnovers in his last 2 games here. Really only 2 turnovers in his last, I don't know, this is close to 90 minutes of playing basketball. But looking at Zaccharie Risacher, obviously the Atlanta Hawks have injuries. Jalen Johnson is out. Clint Capella is out. Bogdanovich is out. And we look at Risacher, like I said, 20 minutes after his first game back from an injury, put up 27.9 fantasy in a tough defensive matchup versus the Timberwolves. And in that game, he played only 20 minutes, right? 25 minutes and 29 minutes. With the injuries that the Hawks do have, I'm expecting Risacher. I mean, if we just take a quick look at this lineups, I'm expecting him to play at least 28 minutes. And then we look over on Outlier. Again, there's a link in the description. You get a 7-day free trial. This season, with at least 26 minutes, he's over this line in 10 of 14 games, averaging 26.74 fantasy points. This is home versus away, by the way. And if he plays 28 minutes, he's over in 7 of 9 games, averaging, again, 28.17 fantasy points on the road. Flip this, he's over in 5 of 5, averaging 26 fantasy points. Again, he actually does, if we look at his splits, he does actually average a little bit more fantasy points, or a little bit more stats on the road. More points, more rebounds, more assists, actually more steals on the road compared to at home. Not really sure why that is. Maybe just more usage on the road. Star players get more involved, etc. But we look at Risacher again, filtering this. Reset all. I think without Jalen Johnson, it's a little different, right? When you look at it without Jalen Johnson this season, he is over in 7 of 10 games this season without Jalen Johnson, and 3 of his last 3 since Jalen Johnson has been out, with 27, 38, and 26. More specifically, looking at his head-to-head versus the Detroit Pistons, he's only played them 1 time, put up 17.5 fantasy way back in November. So a lot of things have changed for him. Obviously, a lot of lineup things have changed for the Atlanta Hawks. But we look at per 36 minutes this season with Jalen Johnson, Bogdanovich, and Clint Capella all off the floor. I mean, Risacher is averaging 31.2 fantasy points. He's the 4th highest usage on the team. I mean, you can pretty much take Kobe Buffkin out of here. 31.2 fantasy points, 0.9 fantasy points per minute. I mean, if he plays 28 plus minutes, this line is a little bit too low. It is a pretty solid matchup as well. Just forwards, fantasy score game log this season. Versus the Detroit Pistons has been kind of a wagon, right? We look at forwards, fantasy score game log this season versus the Pistons, right? Insane hit rate as far as just 20 fantasy points. I mean, this is really just since January 9th. We've seen 18 different players hit 21.5 fantasy. Too low of a line, in my opinion. I like Risacher over 20. Second play here is going to be Mikal Bridges, sorry. Mikal Bridges. We look at Mikal Bridges, and Mikal Bridges this season, I think this is a super low line in my opinion. 25.5 fantasy for Mikal Bridges. We look at Mikal, and we look at over on Outlier. I mean, this season alone, at home, he's over in 20 of 26 games. At home, averaging 31.53 fantasy points. At home, right? Regardless of minutes. Obviously, Tom Thibodeau loves to play his guys a ton of minutes. In games when he plays, 33, 34, 35 plus minutes, 15 of 19, averaging 32.3. He's just such a better player this season at home, right? When he plays at home, 20 of 26 in elite hit rate, 77%. But OG Anunoby has been ruled out. And if I look at the on and off court stats for the Knicks with OG Anunoby off the floor, you'd think immediately Josh Hart sees the best, I guess, increase of fantasy production. But it's actually Karl Anthony Towns. But I'm not trying to touch Karl Anthony Towns given how he's played recently. And again, his line's at 47.5. We get Mikal Bridges at 25.5. But Mikal Bridges per 36 with OG Anunoby off the floor, 33.1 fantasy points, 0.9 fantasy points per minute. Per 36 minutes, he actually averages 4 fantasy points more, and another 0.1 fantasy points per minute per 36 minutes. He actually faced the Rockets earlier this season. He had a tough game in that one. Knicks as a whole, offense was just very sluggish. This was on the road. Knicks play much better at home. But in that game, Mikal Bridges played 40 minutes, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 4 turnovers, no assists, no blocks, 1 steal. But then again, that was with OG Anunoby on the floor. Again, I'm expecting Mikal Bridges to play north of 36 minutes in this one. Again, Josh Hart is questionable. I hope Josh Hart does play, though. I think that does help Mikal Bridges. But nonetheless, Mikal Bridges, elite hit rate at home. Look at shooting guards, a game log this season versus the Rockets in 25 minutes. You can see the type of players that have cleared this line recently. Keon Johnson just put up 32.3. Desmond Bane, 45. Luke Kennard, 29.2. Literally 5 of the last, or I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 6 of the last 6 shooting guards, I guess you could say, have cleared the over on this line versus the Rockets in 25 minutes. If we do small forwards, which is kind of what I always viewed Mikal Bridges to be as a small forward. Zaire Williams just put up 41.1, Jaylen Brown 39, Max Strus 29.3, Keegan Murray 33.2. There's just so many ways for Mikal Bridges to hit the over on this if he does play the minutes. So again, 2 player props for this YouTube, you guys. Risacher 20 fantasy score, Bridges 25.5. Please drop a like on this video, guys. Hit the subscribe button, and as always, let's cash.